Hey everyone, this is Ben once again, and welcome back to another video. This time around, I'm beginning my review of the Star Wars franchise. Now I'm going to do it in chronological order, according to the events of the timeline. And I'm going to start with the Star Wars prequel trilogy. And so today, the one that I'm going to talk about is the one that started it all. And the first prequel of the trilogy is Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now, for those that don't know, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, is the first installment in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and it came out in 1999. It is the fourth film in the Star Wars film series, and the first chronological chapter of the Skywalker saga. It was written and directed by George Lucas, and it stars Liam Neeson, Ewan McGregor, Natalie Portman, Jake Lloyd, Ahmad, Anthony Daniels, Kenny Baker, Perma August, Ian McDiarmid, Ray Parker, Samuel L. Jackson, and Frank Oz. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for this adventure as I take you on a journey in the world of the first film of the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and to see how well it holds up. And without further ado, let's now dive into the story and how well it still holds up to this day. Taking place before the original trilogy, two Jedi named Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan are sent on a mission to rescue Padme from Naboo, who has been captured by the Trade Federation. They all travel to the planet Tatooine, where they meet a young boy named Anakin Skywalker. Qui-Gon takes Anakin to the Jedi Order and trains him to become a Jedi, in spite of the reluctant trust from the Council. Unknown to the Jedi, Chief Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, is scheming a plan to have the Naboo invasion start a war in the Jedi Order. So, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon must confront their greatest enemy, Darth Maul, and stop him before it is all too late. Now, what did I think of The Phantom Menace? I thought it was great. It was a great first entry in the Star Wars prequel trilogy, and it introduced all of the characters. You gotten to know all the characters, and the story was very well written and well told. Even the characters who really did well were very well written and told, and simply because the story was able to introduce them to the audience. And it's interesting because it really shows how much effort has been put into making that movie. And when I was first introduced to The Phantom Menace, I really loved watching it. I watched it on the DVD with the 2-disc version, and it really had awesome special features as well. And then when I watched The Phantom Menace again on Blu-ray, it was a really great film, and it made me realize how much they did in making this movie. This definitely makes a very great movie in this entry, and this is why it deserves a very good high praise, because it really is one of the best films in the Star Wars franchise. Production began years after making the original trilogy, when George Lucas had to find a way to title the first episode of the prequel trilogy. After a discussion with the producers, it was decided together that it would be titled Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. The casting director also had to choose the right cast to do the characters, so they auditioned for the role in order to be prepared for the parts they were going to play. The special effects and set designs had to be done ahead of time, so George planned with the team to film most of the other characters with the CGI practical effects through computer animation. Even the actors who had to be prepared for the roles they were going to do had to be put in different makeup designs. The stunt coordinator 2 weeks before shooting was named Nick Gord, who was able to do the stunt doubles for the lightsaber duels. This enabled the actors to prepare themselves to do real lightsabers in order to be prepared for what they were going to do. Filming was then done in Tanzania, where at the time it was super hot during the desert of Tatooine. But luckily, George and the team had come up with creative decisions in order to keep themselves cool at the time. Each of the shots are so well done, and the filming took as much process to do, and yet all this time and effort was well worth the risk. And it was all thanks to the creative efforts that the team made for this film. Now let's talk about the man who directed this first installment in the prequel trilogy, and also how he wrote the film, as well as the cinematography of all the shots of this movie, and how well they still hold up, even today. The movie was written and directed by George Lucas, who was a really great choice for directing the film. You could really tell that George had a creative mind when it came to doing Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. He was also a writer for this film, and he did good in writing the script for what the cast should do when portraying the characters. The producer of the film was Rick McCallum, who did really well in collaborating with George as to how he wanted the scenes of each and every film to be as engaging to the audience as much as possible in order for them to enjoy it. The cinematography was done by David Tattershall, who did a really great job in shooting those amazing scenes. The shots of the forest are well done. The underwater scenes are so breathtakingly beautiful. Even the shots of Naboo are very awesomely well done. And the shots of Tatooine are very well shot as well. There's also the scenes of how the Jedi Order is shot too. All of these shots in this film make it one interesting movie. And this definitely makes the first movie in the prequel trilogy worth the fun to watch. Now we're going to talk about the characters of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Here in this amazing section, you will learn how the characters were brought to life and how the actors managed to portray the characters very well and make them very relatable to the audience so that they would all enjoy these characters of this amazing franchise. First up, we have Qui-Gon, who is Obi-Wan's mentor. Throughout the film, he's also known to be a father figure to Anakin in helping him teaching the ways of the Jedi. Although he dies at the hands of Maul, he gives Obi-Wan his final request to allow him to train the boy. He is portrayed by Liam Neeson, who does a really great job in portraying this character of Qui-Gon, making him such a fun and entertaining character. Next up is Obi-Wan Kenobi. He is the student of Qui-Gon and is willing to follow in his footsteps. Although he ends up being devastated that Qui-Gon dies at the hands of Maul, he becomes determined to become Anakin's mentor and teach him the ways of the Jedi. He is portrayed by Ewan McGregor, who does a great job with the character of Obi-Wan, and you could really tell that he had a lot of fun doing the part. Next up is Padme Amidala, the Queen of Naboo. She is the one that throughout the film does her very best to help keep the peace between the senators at all costs. She is portrayed by Natalie Portman, who does a really great job in really playing the character of Padme, making her so much fun to watch. Next up is Anakin Skywalker, the young boy of Tatooine who dreams of becoming a Jedi. After winning the pod race, he ends up leaving Tatooine to become a member of the Jedi Order and becomes, in the end, a student of Obi-Wan. This character is portrayed by Jake Lloyd, who does a really great job in playing this innocent child of the film. Next up is Shmi Skywalker, Anakin's mother. Although reluctant to let him go, she supports his decision to leave Tatooine to become a Jedi. Her character is portrayed by Palima August, who does a really great job in playing this character of Shmi Skywalker. Next up is the funniest character in the film, Jar Jar Binks. And he's a really good sidekick character that tags along for the ride. And you could tell that he just wants to fit in and be accepted. And by the end of the film, Jar Jar ends up becoming quite the hero who ends up saving the day in the end. This character is brilliantly portrayed by Ahmad, And you could really tell that Ahmad enjoyed being the character of Jar Jar, making this character quite a fun one to watch in the movie. Next up, we have Yoda, who is another member of the Jedi Order. He is one of the few that is very reluctant to trust Anakin in becoming a Jedi, though he does reluctantly allow him to do so. He is portrayed and voiced by Frank Oz, who did a great job in doing well with the dialogue of this character. Next up, we have our other character, Mace Windu. He is also a member of the Jedi Order, but he is very reluctant to allow Anakin to be in the Order as well, though he does so under the reluctant quest of Qui-Gon. He is portrayed by Samuel L. Jackson, who did a great job with this character, making him quite a fun and entertaining character in the movie. Next up, we have Chancellor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious. He is the one that throughout the film orchestrates the entire Clone Wars, and is willing to put the Senate in full war. This character is brilliantly portrayed by Ian McDiarmid, who did a really great job in balancing out being Darth Sidious to Chancellor, making this character not only entertaining, but such a fun character to watch in the movie. Last but not least, we have our villain Darth Maul, who is the central antagonist of the film. He is the first apprentice of Sidious, and throughout the film, he eventually tries to kill Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, but in the end, he ends up getting defeated. He is voiced by Sarah Richardson and played by Ray Park, and they both did a good job in portraying the character of Maul. The music for The Phantom Menace was composed by the legendary John Williams, who did a really great job in composing this score. Through every scene, whether it's a light-hearted moment or an epic moment between the fight with Darth Maul, you could tell that Williams just has a blast with the score. And this no doubt makes John Williams one of the best score composers of all time. When The Phantom Menace first came out in 1999, it was such a successful film that audiences gave it a ton of praise for being one of the best films in the Star Wars prequel trilogy. It was such a success that it spawned a very successful VHS release, which eventually led up into the 2-disc DVD, which no doubt became one of the best known movies of the year. Around the same time that the Blu-rays came out, there only came out on the DVD version, which contained sharper quality. Also, it spawned a release of the Steelbook Blu-ray, which contained very good-looking cover art. Around the same time, it also had the successful Blu-ray release, which eventually led up into the 4K release, no doubt leading into one of the sharpest qualities ever made. All these different releases of The Phantom Menace make it one of the most successful films of all time. Now that we talked about the different releases of The Phantom Menace, now it's time to end the video with my final thoughts on the movie. Overall, Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace was a great way to begin the prequel trilogy and the entire Star Wars story as a whole. It had a great storytelling, fantastic writing, great characters, and great direction by George Lucas, and the score by John Williams was very well done. Everything was well told in the story, and this definitely makes this first installment worth the entertainment to watch. Well, that about wraps up my video talking about Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. I hope you really enjoyed it, and stay tuned for when I will do the next installment in the prequel trilogy, which is Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. So stay tuned for that, because it's going to be another great continuation of the prequel trilogy. I hope this video of me doing the first prequel trilogy was worth it, and if you really liked it, feel free to like, comment, share, and or subscribe, and stay tuned. And as always, until next time, I'll see y'all later. See ya.